Mustafa's provincial posts. According to Turkish tradition, all princes were expected to work as provincial governors, Sanjak-bey, as a part of their training. Mustafa was sent to Manisa in 1533, in the formal ceremony, and Mahidevran accompanied him. Describing his court at Kara amid Diyarbakır, near the Safavid border, Bassano wrote around 1540 that the prince had a most wonderful and glorious court, no less than that of his father, and that his mother, who was with him, instructs him in how to make himself loved by the people. At some point Mustafa returned to Manisa, and in 1542 he moved to Amasya. By 1546 3 more of Suleiman's sons were in the field, and the competition for the succession began among the 4 princes, although the Sultan would live for another 20 years. The ambassador Bernado Navagero, in a 1553 report, described Mahidevran's efforts to protect her son. Mustafa has with him his mother, who exercises great diligence to guard him from poisoning and reminds him every day that he has nothing else but this to avoid, and it is said that he has boundless respect and reverence for her. Mustafa was an immensely popular prince. When he was only 9, that Venetian ambassador had reported that he has extraordinary talent, he will be warrior, is much loved by the Janissaries, and performs great feats. In 1553, when Mustafa was 38 years old, Navagero wrote, "It is impossible to describe how much he is loved and desired by all as successor to the throne." Towards the end of Suleiman's long reign, the rivalry between his sons became evident. Furthermore, both Hurrem Sultan and the Grand Vizier Rustam Pasha turned him against Mustafa, and Mustafa was accused of causing unrest. During the campaign against Safavid Persia in 1553, Suleiman ordered the execution of Mustafa. According to a source, he was executed that very year on charges of planning to dethrone his father. His guilt for the treason of which he was accused has since been neither proven nor disproven. Up until the very end of her son's life, Mahidevran endeavored to protect Mustafa from his political rivals, and most probably maintained a network of informants in order to do so. The ambassador Trevisno related in 1554 that on the day Mustafa was executed, Mahidevran had sent a messenger warning him of his father's plans to kill him. Mustafa unfortunately ignored the message. According to Trevisno, he had consistently refused to heed the warnings of his friends and even his mother. For several years after her son's execution, Mahidevran lived a troubled life. Mahidevran went to Bursa, ere her son was buried, and became the last woman to retire to Bursa. Less fortunate than her predecessors and presumably disgraced by her son's execution, she was unable to pay the rent on the house in which she lived, and her servants were taunted and cheated in the local markets. Mahidevran's situation improved towards the end of Suleiman's reign when her debts were paid at the Sultan's orders and a house was purchased for her, possibly by Suleiman's sole surviving son, Mustafa's half-brother Selim. Her last years, however, were not in poverty, for Selim too, the new sultan after 1566, as well as her stepson, put her on a salary. Her rehabilitation may have been possible only after the death of her rival, Hurrem, in 1558. Financially secure at last, Mahidevran had enough income to create an endowment for the upkeep of her son's tomb, which was built by Selim. She died in 1580 and was buried in Mustafa's tomb. Depictions in literature and popular culture.